I had a Russian beer once. I didn't like it.
I think they're just called vodka.
Vodka.
Exactly.
Inspired by the adventures of our nurses, therapists, and techs, A Beer with Atlas is the only healthcare traveling craft beer drinking podcast. Each week, we'll open a few beers, talk about the brewery and the style of beer, and then dive into some research curated specifically for each episode. In the end, we hope each one sounds like a conversation you'd have with your friends while enjoying a few cold ones.
Welcome to another episode of A Beer with Atlas. I'm Rich.
I'm Brian.
And this episode makes me sad.
Why?
It's the last of our 4-part series for Oktoberfest, and I love Oktoberfest beers.
Yeah, me too.
I guess I'll only be sad when it's over. I'm happy now.
Yeah.
Because on this episode, we're going to talk about and we're going to drink traditional.
The real deal.
The real ones, right?
Yeah. That's what you're telling me.
So I don't know.
I can't pronounce the names of the brewery or the beer, so you know it's authentic.
And I have a feeling I don't think I've had either of these.
I'm pretty sure I know I haven't had this one.
Okay.
Hacker Shore, I don't think I've had either, but we'll see. I brought my phone today actually so I can untap them and check.
So we've got two. We have Hofbräu Oktoberfest beer. How's that? That's how it looks, right?
Yeah, we'll go with that.
Hofbräu Oktoberfest beer.
That sounds better.
And Hacker Shore Original Oktoberfest Amber Marzen.
Okay, so that one's going to be a little darker in color.
Very
Just
German.
from that, yeah.
Welcome to the German episode of A Beer with Atlas.
Yeah.
All right, which one do you want to do first?
I think we should start with this one.
With the Hofbräu Oktoberfest
Let's try
beer.
that one.
How would you pronounce this, Dolan? You were laughing at me. Oktoberfest beer?
I think it's Feist.
Feist?
Hofbräu Oktoberfest
Boom.
beer.
Yeah.
That sounded good, Dolan. Good job.
All right.
Better just...
Hofbräu
Munchin.
Yeah.
Once again, thank you, Germany, for all you've done for beer culture and beers in general.
So where did we get these beers?
So the Hofbräu came from our local Hy-Vee. They have just a big old stand, 12 packs, and all that. There. Oh, look at me. I hogged the whole one, and then you got to split with that.
That's okay.
Beer.
You got more talking to do probably anyway
I do.
Than I do. So, and then the Hacker Shore came from Mike Spees, client manager. This is his favorite Oktoberfest.
All right.
So he brought us that one. I think he got it at Costco, maybe. I don't know.
How Oktoberfest?
Yeah.
That's America for you. Get your beer.
That's why they don't like us, I guess. I don't know.
It smells good.
It smells very sweet. Okay.
Oh, boy.
Oh, gosh. Here we go. Has he been drinking already?
Knew he was going to do that.
Yeah. So the Hofbräu Oktoberfest, that's the first one we're going. 5.8%?
Whoa.
Is that right? What? Nope,
Wow.
6.3. I'm sorry. 6.3. Wow, is that a good wow or a bad wow?
You'll see.
All right. Oh.
Yeah. Tasty. It was like kind of really sweet at the beginning, I thought.
Wow.
And then it like karate chopped my tongue a little bit, and I was like, what? And then the aftertaste is nice too.
Yeah.
This might be rookie of me to say,
Okay.
or amateur of me to say.
Okay.
But yeah, it's kind of sweet up front,
Yeah.
and then afterwards, it kind of reminds me of the Peroni. You know what I'm talking about? The Italian
The
beer.
Italian beer. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Maybe a little bit. It has a little bit of that
Interesting.
to it. Okay.
So this is
Not what I expected at all.
No. Sweeter than I thought.
I expected way more, and maybe this is just the Americanized version, like we've talked
yeah.
about in episodes past, right? That's what we're used to, and
Yeah.
this is maybe more of the traditional style.
Maybe.
Maybe.
This is what they make now.
Lighter, just smoother.
But do you think it could be like we had talked about Jose Cuervo, the tequila, when we did the tequila barrel aged? Do you think that they make an American version? Because you picked this up at Hy-Vee, right?
Sure.
So do you think...
Yeah, but this is made in Germany.
Yeah, I
though.
think
mean,
this
right.
is just how it is now. I bet you I don't know. We'll get into it.
Yeah.
We'll get into it with the research we've got.
And I know you'll get into this, but right on the label, Munich specialty, brewed according to the German purity law.
Yeah.
Oh, I mean,
Established 1589.
yeah.
That's pretty old.
So let's get into a little bit of my research on this, because it's interesting how the two are so very similar. The two breweries are so very similar going way back, but then they're so very different now in how they market themselves. The Hofbräu was founded in 1589 by William V. Duke of Bavaria. Sounds pretty...
1589.
1589.
Yep.
Is that what you got there, too?
Yep.
The birthplace of the brewery and gastronomy. So Hofbräu House is the brewery, the birthplace of brewery and gastronomy. Today, Hofbräu House Bavarian State Brewery in Munich is one of the two still Bavarian-run traditional Munich breweries.
Okay.
I don't know which one. I couldn't figure out which one the other
Which
one
other one
was.
was?
Too. No, I have no idea. It might be because we talked through some of them, like Lowenbrau and
Spaten. Yeah.
Yeah.
Some of the other ones.
So and this is where they kind of change paths. Where the next one we'll talk about, the Hacker-Shore we'll talk about, is more like, this is our history, rooted in history. This is where we came from, and Hofbräu is more about who they are now and how they take care of the earth and the water they use and the hops that they use and the barley and where it comes from, and how they give back to not only their country but then how they give back to the environment and make sure that everything is still, they're obeying the German purity laws,
right?
But then still being respectful to the earth at the same time. I thought this was
a little
interesting.
bit more modern,
way more modern
marketing. Huh?
Their website is 100 times more modern. Like, there was some just beautiful imagery on their site of like a dude with like super worn hands, like and the grain kind of falling on his hands, and him working through it, and then on the hops when they're like on the with the pellets and and rubbing them together and stuff. And I clipped this piece out because they talk about each step of the process and whatever, but I thought this was fun. The brewing water for Hofbräu München, which I assume is their standard beer, I guess. Sure. I don't know. Is no ordinary groundwater. It originates from our own, this is right off their website, from their own deep wells. Our well pipes below the brewery runs about 150 meters deep into the earth. We have access to resources that were once left behind in the geological phase of the Teeteri?
Sure.
Okay.
Sure.
In the Alpine foothills. Since before the Stone Age, this water has been preserved deep below ground and is fresh as it was on the very first day.
So like their version of an aquifer. Basically.
Absolutely. Yes.
Okay.
But they're just drilling as far down as they possibly can to get to this water.
Yeah, it's surprising if it's still around.
Mm-hmm.
What, 530 years?
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
Math.
530 years. That's math. I did it.
That's a long time.
That's a lot of water.
Yeah. And sometimes I think if I leave a glass of water out for like a day, I think it's stale and I pour it out.
Oh, yeah.
Because we're stupid.
Yeah. That's funny. But yeah, you're right. It doesn't taste the same.
Right. It doesn't taste the same at all. The last little bit on this I thought was interesting was Hofbräu Oktoberfest beer is a full-bodied, bottom-fermented specialty beer with its fine hoppy aroma. It's perfect alongside a classic Oktoberfest roasted chicken.
Yep.
What's an Oktoberfest
We'll
roasted
get there.
chicken? Oh,
We'll
you
get
know?
there. Oh, yeah, I know.
Oh, hell yes.
I
This is
know.
awesome.
I did a lot of
Oktoberfest
the research for this.
roasted
boy.
chicken.
I figured it would be like a lot of sausages and...
That's what I thought. Yeah. It'd be good with sausage and cheese.
It would be.
sauerkraut.
And, oh, yeah.
All right. Well, let's get in. Let's do a little bit of this research.
Yeah.
And this is just about actual Oktoberfest research.
Okay.
And then we'll do the next beer, and then I have a little bit the icing research, the fun stuff.
Awesome.
So, I kind of just looked into the history of Oktoberfest and like kind of where it comes from and what it is. I did some research on this pattern, the blue and white checker.
Oh, yeah.
Because I wanted to know why that's on most of the things that we see.
Yep.
So I'll start with that first, I guess, since that's the first thing I wrote down. It's a diamond pattern, and it's called a lozenge. And it dates back to Otto II of Bavaria, who was ruling in that area, so what became Germany, 1206 to 1253. He inherited some land, basically. It was called Bogen, and it was on the Danube River. And it was kind of an area where people traveled through, so like trading route, basically, through that part of the town, or the part of the country. He took that blue and white color and incorporated it in his family crest, which is something that we don't do here, but over there, that was a big thing, right? So because of that, it was like the sign of the area, because he owned so much land and everybody saw it all over, and it just kind of became known as what you would see in this part of the country. So that symbol became, equated this part of Germany or whatever. So it like just was the emblem of the area, and that's just how it had been for 800 something years. That's not him ringing the doorbell.
Come in.
In 1835, the crest was redesigned by King Ludwig I, because, let's see, why did I write that down? Because, okay. Let me skip back before. So I was saying it became the crest of everything for like 600 years.
Yep.
It's because there was also a war, the Napoleonic Wars, and the Bavarian army had that emblem on their shields and their banner flags and stuff, so it got all around the region. So lots of people would see this thing. 1835, so 600 years later, it was redesigned. He changed it up, basically modernized it, the crest.
600 years.
Yeah, modernized it a little bit later.
As opposed to modern marketing where it changes like every couple years.
Few years, yeah.
Okay, there you go.
So it took 600 years to change it. And the reason it was, the guy was Catholic, and he was in a very Catholic part of Germany, where normally German is known for like Lutheranism.
Okay.
And they said Bavaria, they basically describe it as this: Bavaria is the Texas of Germany. So it's like its own thing, right?
Okay,
So
right.
has its own culture, its own unique way of things. So it's part of Germany, but it sticks out in its own way. So that's Bavaria.
Don't mess with Bavaria? Is
Right.
that okay, there we go.
That's right.
It doesn't quite rhyme.
No, it doesn't. We'll have to work on that. Another 600 years.
Yeah.
So that's kind of where it comes from. It's just the rich family that own the area's family crest colors, and that's why it's there.
Oh, okay.
So boring, but
Yeah.
it makes sense if you dig it down.
Honestly, it doesn't surprise me whatsoever. That's, yeah.
Let's see here. What else did I write down? Oh, something I always thought was interesting. And you can still buy this stuff today, but I wanted to know about some of the stuff that they wear. So like the traditional, garb. Everybody knows lederhosen and
Yeah.
that sort of thing,
Yep.
which is like a, I don't think leather is the right term. It's not like a polished leather, but it's like suede-ish, maybe. Is that
okay.
close? It's
Yeah.
that kind of material.
I wouldn't even know how. Yeah, I guess that's how you'd explain it.
It's like short shorts with suspenders on them, basically, is the best way I can describe it.
Dolan wears that in his band when his band
I think
plays.
so.
Yeah.
You know, it's funny.
Always.
I have. That's crazy. When I lived in my first house, when I moved out from my parents and I was in college, the guys below us were in a band, and they always had house shows. And one of the bands that came to their house and played, and I went and saw them, was a band called the Hot Carls. And their lead singer wore lederhosen, and that was it. So he just had the shorts on, and they played a show, and the name was the Hot Carls. So it has been done.
That's a great band name.
It was funny. The other thing I found out, and I didn't really realize what this was, and that it had some symbolism behind it, something called a dirndl, or a dirndl, D-I-R-N-D-L. And that is the ribbon or sash that the ladies wear around their waist. So
okay.
it's kind of like not necessarily a belt, but it's just a decoration piece, right?
Okay.
So if you go to an Oktoberfest, and this is something you'd see today, and this is true 400 years ago. If you tie it on the right side, that means she's married or in a relationship.
Okay.
And if you wear it on the left side, that means you're single and you're looking. And in the middle, it basically says, I'm not into anything. Don't bother me.
I just want to drink beer.
And if it's on the back, that's basically means she works there. She's an employee, a waitress, or a widow was another thing. So it was like more respect given to the people with the bow tied in the back.
Understood.
So it's basically shorthand for you to be social with women this thing.
To make it easy.
Right.
Well,
and that's still the history. That's still what it is today.
Because drunk dudes are dumb.
Yeah.
And
dudes are dumb.
dudes are dumb, yeah.
Drunk dudes even more dumb.
Right. And so
Yeah.
you need some help. Okay, so is it my right or your right, I guess?
It would be on their person.
So if they wear it on their right side,
Then she's taken, spoken for, married, whatever.
left
in a
side
relationship.
means
single looking.
Single looking.
Yeah.
Middle. Okay, interesting.
So if you ever see somebody at an Oktoberfest or whatever in a movie or whatever, that's what that means.
Interesting.
This is something I mean, you hear about Oktoberfest, and especially we have them all around here, right? They always breweries have little local ones and stuff. The real ones are like legit. 6 million visitors a year go to Oktoberfest. That's a ton.
In Munich, like in Germany,
Yes,
like
in the place where they have it.
Man, I bet they make a lot of money. Like,
Yes.
just the one thing a year like pays everything.
It's like all month long they do
Wow.
this, right? So originally it started out 1810, and it was to celebrate a royal wedding. So like a princess married a prince or whatever.
Sure.
October 12th, 1810. Because of that, some rich guy was like, you know what? Here's the gift that I'm going to give you. I'm going to set up a horse race, and the whole town can come and watch this race. And that'll be the wedding gift for you. So something fun to do because, there's no DJs blasting Who Let the Dogs Out.
There's no Netflix.
Right.
Right.
So there's nothing to do after the wedding except maybe watch this horse race. And it was awesome, and the whole town loved it, and they had a great time. Next year, around the same time, they're like, hey, we want to have a party. There's no wedding. What should we do?
Yeah.
So they set up a committee in the town and basically say, okay, well, we want to do the same sort of stuff. We want to have a big party, drink beer, eat food, do that some. And it was kind of also after harvest time.
Okay.
So it was like a way to let off some steam. So they set up a committee, and then that's kind of how it started to this day. So it's in the same places, and it's some of the same stuff. It was privately funded by rich landowners for a long time. And then it started to become, taxes would go to it, and a lot of the money that they make would go back into it for next year, that sort of stuff.
These people are heroes.
Yes.
Like real life heroes.
Yeah. I mean, it's pretty cool.
That first committee, like they should, maybe sainthood, possibly. I think. I don't know.
I wonder. Yeah, I couldn't find out who did it, or whose names were in it, or anything like that. But 1881 was the first time they had a guy opened a little restaurant there, and all he sold was fire roasted chicken.
There we go.
So he had it. I was like on a rotisserie over some fire, open fire.
Yep.
And he cooked them and sold them, and it was a popular thing. And now there's 50 different places that make this, and it's just traditional food. So you get that all the time.
Okay.
They also had booths. They made some carousels.
I thought you said something else.
Booze? Oh, boobs.
No.
Oh, even worse than that?
Yeah, well, there you go.
Okay. They have those things.
They have those too.
They had, like you see on that beer there was a Ferris wheel.
Yeah.
And then when electricity came in, then they started having like attractions and rides. And it was almost like a carnival, basically. So it was like the town meeting place.
Yep.
Once a year, huge party.
Yep.
In 1910, on the 100th anniversary, they made 12,000 hectoliters of beer, which I don't know what that is, but that sounds a lot. Hectoliter.
Hectoliter?
Yeah.
I'm going to do some conversion here real quick while you're talking.
And it was poured at one of the tents.
How many thousand? How many?
12,000 hectoliters.
12,000 hectoliters. Okay,
Yep.
let's see if we can get some kind of is good lord.
Hähnchen.
What the heck was that?
Hähnchen.
That's how you say chicken in German.
Oh,
Hähnchen.
Okay. That scared me a little bit.
that did kind of scare me. 317,000 liquid gallons.
That's a lot of beer.
That's a lot of beer.
That was 100. That was in 1910. So I'm guessing it's more than that now.
Oh my
Wow.
gosh.
In 1950, the mayor of Munich came and he ceremoniously tapped the first keg.
Okay.
And that was the beginning of that tradition. So now every year, Oktoberfest does not happen until the mayor of Munich comes and taps the first keg.
I want to be the mayor.
So
of
they've done
Munich.
that for what, 70-ish years now, I guess? 60 something, almost 70.
Yep.
In 1980, this is something I had no idea about. On September 26th, somebody detonated a bomb. at Oktoberfest.
In 1980. Oh,
1980.
Like a terror.
Yeah.
Wow.
13 people were killed. 200 people were hurt. It was the worst attack in German history as far as not war.
Like terror attack or whatever.
But that still stands to this day. But I've never heard of that in my life.
Those people are the devil. Who did
It was some.
Why would you? Why
It
would
was
you
just
do
some
that?
German
Look,
guy
beer and roasted chicken. Why would you want to bomb that
Why
at
would
all?
you want to bomb that?
and music and food and all that sort of stuff.
Everything.
Fun
Everything
haters.
about it.
Fun haters.
Let's see here.
That's ludicrous. Beyond ludicrous.
Currently, there are 17 large tents and 21 small tents. That's what fits all the people. And we're talking large tents like it seats, let's see, what
like
did I write
city
down?
blocks worth of tents.
The biggest tent holds 10,000 people.
Holy mackerel.
And that's Hofbrau, our beer right now.
Oh, there we
that's
go.
the biggest tent. Since 2010 only, have they incorporated any sort of band, live music sort of thing where it's featured. So they always had like, traditional German style music, maybe polka-ish, if you can describe it that way.
Probably, yeah.
But now, since 2010, they've had more current music there, local bands and that sort of stuff.
Okay.
Just to add more family stuff to do.
Yep.
I wrote down some of the tents and what they do. There's like a tent now that just has wine, so like a wine tent. That's a more current thing.
Yeah.
The Hofbrau tent, like I said, it has 10,000 people. It's the biggest one, and it's also the biggest party. And they have English language stuff there, like American music.
Okay.
So it's like the one that most tourists from America go to try to get into.
Makes sense.
The Bavarian government has a table at this one all the time, like reserved. Like it's there. It's like the official tent of the government, basically. So, so like when we go to Atlas baseball game or whatever, and there's seats or whatever. These are reserved, and it looks like it's supposed to look like a log cabin inside. So when you go in there, it's supposed to look like a ski lodge from the mountains of Germany. And it has a bunch of, I guess, German celebrities go to this. It's like the spot to be. So like soccer, well, I guess they call it football, but whatever. Soccer.
Yep.
Actors, musicians, artists, that sort of stuff, models. They're all at this tent, the Hofbrau tent.
How did you get a price on it? Like how much it is?
It was like $100-something to get in for the day. And then you still buy your beer and food or whatever.
Wow.
Holy cow. Well, David Hasselhoff's probably there.
He's probably the king.
Right.
He probably gets it.
So if you
free.
get
he
a
probably
meat-
has his own tent.
That's $100 right there.
Wow. 'Cause
So-
like Sam and I are thinking about doing our honeymoon in Europe, and we're gonna go to Germany. We have a friend there, and I'm thinking about actually just waiting till next fall.
Yeah. I think it didn't seem like it was that much money from what I could tell. The problem it seemed like was it's not necessarily in the town of Munich. So it's finding a place to stay seemed like that would be tough. Let's see. But some of them have like hotels and things in it, or like in the area. There's some like bed and breakfasty sort of things. Like you could find a place to stay.
Look, if I'm drinking that much beer, I might as well just bring a sleeping bag with me.
You might just be there. I mean, we're talking the big liter glasses too. We're not talking little ones like we're drinking.
Right.
I remember when I was Dolan's age and I could just like sleep in my car and stuff.
And you're like, whatever.
And now I'm like, no, it's all
Need a
about
bed.
like water pressure in the shower at the hotel, right? I mean,
They don't
that's
have any
what's
like
important.
hostels nearby.
I don't know.
I've seen that movie. I'm not staying there.
Lowenbrau has a tent, and it's famous because it has, I wish I knew metric, 4.5 meter animated lion. It's like on top of the tent, so it moves around.
Meters are okay. Let's do the conversion.
I think it's
about a yard.
no,
A meter is about a yard, right?
it's only 5 feet tall. That doesn't seem very
That
tall.
doesn't seem very. Let's see.
Maybe you're right. I don't know.
1
Well, a yard's
meter-
3 feet, right? So if it's 4 meters,
1 meter in feet is 3.28 feet, or 1 meter is 3.28 feet.
So it's about 15 feet tall.
15 feet tall. That's a big animated lion.
That's so you can see it. And every minute it roars and it says Lowenbrau. So that would get old probably every minute. If you're
if
the
you're
tent
working
next door, working, and you just have to hear Lowenbrow every minute.
Until you're hammered and it's like,
Yeah.
Lowenbrow.
Yeah. So that was a thing, and it's still there, and it's one of the more popular like photo spots and stuff to see.
Of
course. They do a thing there every year, well, since 1969. They do a whole tent sing-along of Hey Jude. That's like
Really?
known for that. So it's like a kind of a famous thing. Yeah.
You got to wonder how that started. Some
I don't
drunk
know.
dude was just like started
Hey,
singing it.
Jude.
And then they started,
Basically,
that'd be
and that's
awesome.
how it went through. So
Na, na, na,
that's some of the stuff I learned about that. But just they have like an official website that I went to.
Yep.
And it was cool just the amount of people. Like I don't even know how you would get a beer. Like when your beer was empty, there was and you're sitting on those big long picnic tables, right? I don't even know how you'd get another beer. Like they have waiters and stuff, but there was just thousands of people in this little room. Like you couldn't. I would be scared to drink the beer because you'd have to get up and go to the bathroom.
Well, yeah.
I'm like, I don't even know how you'd get back to your seat. It was so packed.
The lines to the porta potties have got to be just ridiculous.
Oh, I think it'd be cool to see it, but I don't know that I'd actually want to go because it's so jam packed full of people.
Sure.
It's like it would be like if you were at Memorial Stadium and you drink a bunch of beer and you're like, oh, there's one bathroom. How do I get there?
I've been there. I've done that.
Yeah, it's not fun, is it?
No, that's a mistake.
It's a mistake.
I've Wrigley Field before they did the renovations. Same thing.
Yeah.
Right. There's no spot in the trough. Right. if you're a guy listening, you know what the trough is.
Oh, yeah.
Right. And it was like shoulder to shoulder.
Yeah.
That's the most. And then you're looking at a dude directly across from you peeing in the trough too. That's uncomfortable as well. You almost want to hold it until you're done.
Oh, the pee. Yeah.
Yeah.
Eyes up.
Don't know. Yep.
Don't you?
know, it's not that weird.
Oh my gosh.
Everybody pees, right? Everybody poops, right?
Not in an open air place with a bunch of other people watching.
Side
you.
by side with
No.
the dude standing 3 feet across from you.
I guess.
I'm super comfortable, like just in general with all that. There's still an uncomfortable factor to that, right? There's still
I agree.
There's still a stage fright thing that might happen there.
Maybe with a couple more beers you don't care, but or if
maybe.
you got to go real bad.
Look, couple more beers. I've tried peeing in some pretty interesting places.
Oh boy,
Well, that's a different story. For
that's a whole
different day.
podcast. Places where Dolan has peed.
Yeah.
Speaking of beers, I could drink a lot of these
Yes,
because
so good.
This is good.
Yeah.
This is I'm so glad we left this to the end because we just get that nice contrast between.
It's way different than what we drink as American style.
So completely
October.
different.
Like the Sam Adams one versus this.
Yep.
The color is way different. The taste is different. The only thing that's similar, I think, is the sweetness at the beginning. I think that's the key. They all have to have a little bit of sweetness.
But then the American has that kind of punch of that whatever that is at the
Malt,
end.
I think.
Sure.
Yeah.
So you have reviewed this beer on Untapped before. 99,000 reviews on Untapped. Where do you think? Not only where
I
do you
have
think
checked this in?
You have one time last year, actually, at the Casual Pint. Interestingly enough.
Man,
Wow. I don't remember that.
3.6.
So total 3.6.
3.6.
Okay. What do you think?
Overall total?
Overall total. Yeah.
3.76.
Dolan was right on 3.59.
Wow. Good
Right
job.
on. You gave it a 4.25.
I would stand by that.
That's what I would give it.
That's what I did too.
Yeah. I mean,
Yep.
it's really good. And it was one of those also where, because I was gabbing on there, and mine got a little bit warm, and it still tasted good. That's a test of a good beer for
I'm
me.
so happy I bought a 6-pack of this because then I will enjoy these.
You got a couple more, huh?
Yeah, at a later date because, wow.
Well, let's get into this one.
This one's interesting because, like I said, this the contrast between the two styles. That's such a good sound right there.
I did that on purpose.
Yep. The name Hacker Shore, so it's HACKER-PSCHORR. And I would not have known how to pronounce this unless Mr. Spees told me how to pronounce it. Dates back to the marriage of Maria Teresa.
I'll go Teresa. Yeah.
Teresa?
Hacker and Joseph Shore in 1793. She was the daughter of the brewmaster Peter Paul Hacker. Under the couple's leadership, Hackershore advanced to become Munich's leading major brewery in the 18th century. The first mention of the Hacker Brewery, so this goes back to 1417.
So check out the bottle cap.
Hackershore.
There's 2 family crests on
Munchen.
there.
Oh, yeah.
And the first one says 1417.
1417. So the first mention of the Hacker Brewery, 1417, located on the corner of Sendlinger and Hockenstrasse in Munich.
I wonder, this is kind of off topic, but still related. And I'll have to start paying it a little bit more attention. But both of these beers have listed on here somewhere along the lines of when they started.
Yes.
Right? So that's like a big thing for these guys.
Huge.
Like, okay, well, I'm 15, and that one's 14, 17.
14, yeah.
Like, I don't remember any breweries, you know, like, I don't think Crossdrain's got 2016 on their label anywhere.
No. Well, I mean,
I don't know. Maybe they do, but
Maybe 10 years from now when that, you know,
Yeah.
sure.
like, oh, we've been around for this long.
I almost want to say Empyrean and Lincoln has a date
Possibly.
because they were like one of the probably the first in Nebraska.
If not the first, right? I mean,
I
they're the
think
first
so,
I
yeah.
heard of.
As
ever.
far as
I mean,
commercial,
that's-
yeah.
So it's interesting to me that this one that we're about to drink is newer or older.
Older.
It's older,
Yeah.
but it has a smaller tent at
Yeah,
Oktoberfest.
and it's this also just to look at it is darker,
Way darker.
color.
Yeah. Interesting kind of how they split. So in 1820, Joseph buys the Bauer Hansel. So the original guy buys the Bauer Hansel Brewery and other buildings in the Neuhauser Strasse. So it must be like an area of
Yeah,
town
like a
or
county
whatever.
or something, yeah.
So he buys a completely separate brewery and they start brewing there. He retires in 1841, gives equal shares to his 2 sons, George and Matthias. Matthias, Matthias, maybe?
Yeah, I think that's right.
Okay. So George, no E, which is kind of weird. No E at the end.
Yeah,
So they split, and they run the 2 breweries separately. So one of them is as Hacker, the other is Shore. I guess I don't know, but however that works.
Interesting.
Yeah, it was a little foggy on their website, kind of how that worked. But the 2 brothers, they operated under the same, like they used the same rail system or whatever. And who knows, maybe they didn't get along. I don't know.
could be, or they had different. It's kind of interesting, but it's also kind of cool that they could both do their own thing.
Yeah,
I guess.
they both kind of went their own way, but then they kept tradition with German beer making.
Yeah.
They operated independently until 1972.
Whoa.
So yes, no, not that the dude's not German. That George and Matthias were still alive. Obviously,
Right.
No, they're not immortals.
72. Wow.
1972, when they merged back together in the modern day Hackershore, a reunification of the 2 companies. So I lost my headphones.
That
there
was weird for a second,
Yeah.
Oh, that was me. Sorry, I was leaning on the cable.
Good job, Dolan.
So, did it say any reason why they came together? There must have been a reason, a beneficial something.
It didn't say. It just says they merged back together. But then 7 years later, they sold to Joseph Schornherber.
Yep, that sounds right.
There we go. And he's the majority shareholder now of Hackershore. German businessman.
I wonder, like, it'd be cool to go there to Germany and just see how prevalent these beers are. Like,
Yeah.
are they everywhere?
Yeah.
Is this something that we just? I mean, obviously this is going to be different because this is an Oktoberfest and it's a seasonal, quote unquote. But would we just see a regular old Hackershore lager,
The lager or whatever.
or maybe a Hefeweizen?
yeah.
I wonder if this is like the Budweiser of Germany or this one. I mean, like, it's interesting. German beers have a foothold here, right? Even in the craft beer world,
Right.
Like in Omaha, like on Benson, there's Barchen, I think it's called, and that's all German stuff. And then like in the basement of Crescent Moon, they have a German style
Uberhaus.
beer hall, Uberhaus,
Yeah.
with the boots and all that stuff. So it's like a culture that's within the drinking culture of America. And everybody knows Oktoberfest stuff.
Right.
And some of these names you'll know. So it's weird. It's like a bubble in a bubble.
Yeah.
Because, like, you know, or macro beers over the United States, like Budweiser and Miller Lite and that sort of stuff. And then there's craft beer. And then there's, like, German beer. But there's no other beers that I know of that are like that
No.
here in the United States that are actually, like, a thing.
No, not to that level. Not to that. I mean, maybe when you go to like a sushi restaurant, you get some Japanese beers, right?
Yeah.
You get,
but there's
Sapporo.
no
Sapporo and is it Kirin?
Sing Thai, stuff like that.
Yeah,
But there's
not
no
like that. Not
bar
like
that
this.
you're going to drink
No.
Japanese beer.
Well, there is a bar to drink Japanese beer here in Omaha.
That it's all just Japanese?
Yes,
What's
yeah.
it called?
So it's I don't know what it's called. It's like a speakeasy in Benson. You
It's underneath the sushi place.
it's underneath the ramen place.
But aren't they? That's a whiskey bar though, isn't it?
Well, they do cocktails, but they have a whole fridge of Japanese beers that you can get there. It's like $9 a beer, but
Yeah.
I
You're
tried
kind
one.
of paying for the experience, so there.
Yeah.
Okay.
So in Kansas City, there's a great place to go if you like these kinds of beers. It's called Casey Beer Co. And it's Bier, spelled the German way, beer.
KC, Kansas City.
Kansas City Beer Company.
Okay.
And it's in, I'm going to say the wrong part of town, but it's near, we'll have to fact check that.
Okay.
I can't remember Raytown. I'm pretty sure it's in Raytown, Kansas City. Right next to this place called Waldo's Pizza, which has a great beer menu.
Generally, you don't want to end up in Raytown.
Probably not, but this is a good spot to be. And here's why. It's a traditional German-style place. So you walk in, it's got the picnic tables.
Yep.
It's got only German-style beers on tap all the time.
Okay.
So there's like probably 8 different kinds of German beers that they make, right?
Okay.
And then they have German food. So you're getting spätzle, you're getting sausages, you're getting sauerkraut, you're getting pretzels, you're getting cheese dip. All that stuff is there. They have
roasted chicken, maybe.
probably.
All right.
I bet you they probably would. When I was there last, they had a polka band playing tunes. They have a beer garden outside. It's a good brewery that makes good German beer, but it's craft because it's handmade here in the United States, right? And they have started now, I think, bottling some of their beers.
Okay.
So if you're in Missouri anywhere, you can find some of their lagers. I think they have a Hefeweizen that they bottle and stuff.
All right.
But if you're in the Kansas City area and you want to experience something like that, that's the place to go.
Interesting.
So fun.
Huh.
And it's not a place that like where we would go to because we're looking for hops and fruited sours and that sort of thing, stouts. But if you want to just drink this kind of stuff, that's where you want to go.
Interesting.
It's definitely worth. If you're in Kansas City next time you go, check it out.
I think we might. That's way different than because there's a fun beer scene and part of it is because of Boulevard and what has sprung out of Boulevard and all of that around in that area. But Raytown's not anywhere close to that.
No, not really. But there's also, I think, Cinder Block Brewing is down pretty close to that area. There's a couple of other spots that are in and around that part of town. And Kansas City has, I think, maybe over 30 breweries now in the area. So that's a whole weekend in and of itself if you wanted to do that. But that's one that at this time of year, if you're listening to this and you're in the Kansas City area, go check it out. You'll have fun. It's when we walked in there last time, it felt like a wedding reception. Like that sort of everybody knows you party. Like we don't care what's going on. It's fun. When I went there, it was really cold and rainy outside, and everybody was inside and just having a party. It was Saturday at like noon.
Yeah.
It was fun.
Awesome.
I would go back there again.
So I can only imagine like during this time of year, then they really embrace that culture, that Oktoberfest style, and even more so than maybe on a normal day. Or whatever.
I would think this is their Mardi Gras. You know what I mean? Or their big event of the year is this time in this place. Yep. But it's even if it's not now, like if you can't get there this time, go anytime you can because it's just different than what you're used to.
Interesting.
So this beer, it's closer to what we would consider, I think,
Closer.
American style.
Yes.
It's still different, but it has a little bit more malty backbone at the end, I think.
I think,
But it still has some sweetness too.
it does. It does. It seems like it ends similar, maybe without the punchiness of an American style Marzen.
It fades off. Oh boy, there's the test.
Oh, jeez. What do you think, Dolan? What do you think about this one?
It looks like I poured him too much.
Wait a
first
minute.
of all,
I'm gonna guess. I'm gonna guess here. I'm gonna guess he likes the first one more.
Yes,
See?
I do like the first one
you
more.
know him.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, this one's pretty sweet, but
Like
It's
sweet, like sweet, or
like
sweet, like diabetes.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
that. Okay.
Yep.
But it is a little bit. It reminds me more of the last three that we drank.
The American ones.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Understanding what Mike Spees drinks, like what he prefers, I see why he prefers this one. Why
Yeah.
he buys this one. Like he was excited that this
Yeah.
one was in stores.
This one to me has more flavor,
It does. Yes, definitely.
and I will rank this one higher, just for me.
Oh. Well, that doesn't surprise me actually.
I feel like this one to me was sweeter. The first one to me,
Maybe
like,
a little
up front,
bit.
more sweet,
Maybe a little
and
bit.
less malt to like chill that out. And this one is sweet up front, then it kind of tapers off in a nice way. It lingers, but it's not like I just ate a spoonful of sugar or anything like that.
So let's we'll skip ahead here and we'll do the untapped since
Have I ever had this one?
let's see, friends, no.
Okay, I was
No,
like-
wow, 79,000 check-ins.
I was gonna say I don't think I've
have
ever even
not-
seen this beer.
Yep. 0 check-ins from my friends on this one. And I only have like a handful of friends on here, but if you
Yeah.
want to be friends with me on Untapped, my Untapped handle is SushiX37.
It's what?
Sushi X37.
Sushi X37. What's the story behind
That's
that?
a whole nother story for another
Okay.
time.
All right.
Sushi X was I used to, during the early days of the internet, he was a vlogger for pro wrestling.
Okay.
That gives you a little insight into maybe my early days. This was during like my Ameritrade days.
Oh, so we're talking
Way
days
back.
ago.
Way,
well,
way
if you
back.
want to join me on Untapped, Dolan, you better get yours ready.
There you go.
Mine
boy.
is the always sexy Brian Peterson. BrianPedersen. And as of this, I have 3,481 distinct unique beers. And I will be checking in this one, so I will have 82 after this.
I mean, you cheersed my when I crossed 200. I'm at 207
Yeah.
right now. So
Yeah, that's a good one to get.
I'm terrible at updating my Untapped.
Yeah.
As they know, because
Yep.
one random weekend they'll get like 27 entries from me.
Yeah.
I just think Dolan's on a bender at that
Oh
point.
yeah, probably.
Yeah.
But mine is bro, number 2, letter U, number 2. So bro 2 U2.
He can be your
Okay,
bro
that's
as well.
pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So 79,000 check-ins on the Oktoberfest from Hacker Shore. What
I feel
do you
like it's
think?
ranked higher.
It is ranked higher.
But it's going to be less than a 4, but I'm going to say it's 3.64.
Dolan, what do you think?
Yeah, 3.65.
3.69. So you're right on.
Nice.
It's right on.
Nice.
I think, honestly, I don't know. It's the same but different. I'm going to go the same 4.25 on
Yeah.
mine.
I mean that's a damn good beer.
Yeah, I would drink this
4.25.
over and over and over again just because I love this style. I love the flavor. It's just
I think when it comes down to it, we're just sad that they don't make these beers all the time.
that's very
Oktoberfest,
true.
right?
Yeah,
And that's why people around here go nuts when it starts hitting the stores because it's so drinkable and it's so approachable for everybody.
I love summer, but at the same time, when it turns to August and I go to the store for the first time and I see Sam Adams Oktoberfest, I see that orange
Yep.
bottle on the shelf. It makes me so happy.
Yeah.
It's like the pumpkin spice latte for beer drinkers.
This one, Oktoberfest, it could
This
be.
one. Yeah.
I like it because it does. I don't know. It tastes good when it's hot outside,
Yes.
but also it tastes good when it's a little bit cooler. I mean,
Yeah.
here where we're recording today, it's 90 degrees, but it doesn't stop me from drinking this thing.
No.
So here's the last thing I have some research on today, and you hear the term Bavaria not too often anymore. But one thing you do hear it in connection with is where do you think I'm going here?
It's food. I mean, it's
Pretzels,
definitely- Yeah.
Bavarian pretzels.
Yeah.
So I did research on the history of pretzels, and I was going to bring pretzels in, but I'm glad I didn't for two reasons.
Okay.
One, because you've heard him slurping on the mic. Can you imagine him crunching pretzels in the mic? So I was like, nah, that's the main reason. I was like, no,
okay, I'm
not,
sure.
not doing it. So we're just going to talk about them, pretend we have some. Pretzel was created in 610 AD. That's as far back as they can find it.
Wow.
By some Italian monks who used leftover bread from the kitchen, and they basically twisted them together.
Okay.
And they made the shape on purpose. So you're thinking your traditional pretzel that you see, that when you think of a pretzel in your mind, that shape was made on purpose to, I guess, imitate or look like arms crossed for prayer. That's how people used to pray.
Okay.
So it has that crisscross at the bottom. That's supposed to be arms in prayer. That's what it symbolizes.
Interesting.
So because of that, they were considered to be like not necessarily communion wafers, but they were used in a religious way in church, and they were thought to be holy, and even thought to have healing powers.
And now we dip them in mustard.
And dip them in mustard and have them with beer.
I agree with all of that, though.
So we're talking what? This is 1,500 years pretzels have been around.
Wow.
They are now mostly just made with flour and water. That's the style that we have currently. And that was started more Western Europe. So western end of Germany and basically England, that sort of place is kind of where they made them more, I guess not more currently. That's not the term I'm looking for, but they changed the design of the pretzel basically.
More traditional then.
Like what we would consider to be
our traditional.
What we get, yes.
Yes.
Because that's what we were kind of brought. So there was rumors that they were brought on the Mayflower and that they were used to trade with Native Americans because they had never seen that sort of stuff before. Nobody had, really.
No.
So that was a rumor. Nobody can really prove it, but that's what they say.
Yeah.
What they can prove is that they were brought to the United States in the 1700s, and they were brought by German and some Italian folks, and most of those people ended up in Pennsylvania.
Okay.
And the Dutch as well as people that made these pretzels.
Okay.
So Pennsylvania currently is the main spot. So in 1710... they get to Pennsylvania, these Dutch folks and the people that make the pretzels, and they never leave. And that's where, I think I wrote it down. Golly, what's the number? I don't want to say the wrong one. It's at least 80%, maybe 90% of all pretzels in America are made in Pennsylvania.
Really?
Isn't that crazy?
I would say I don't believe you, but
Yes.
Wow.
It's the third most popular salty snack in the United States, behind potato chips and tortilla chips.
Okay.
And then there's pretzels.
Gosh.
Now we're talking pretzels in all forms, but pretzels in general.
Pretzels in general.
So the average person, and Dolan probably is maybe, I don't know, you're a pretzel guy?
I like the big ones. I like the big fluffy pretzels.
You like the soft pretzel.
The soft pretzels.
The kind you get
average-
at like a sporting event or whatever.
Or
Yeah.
or like the soft pretzel bites.
The average person eats 2 pounds of pretzels a year.
I'm definitely not average in that category.
Well, you're above average?
Above average.
Good.
Oh, well,
It's
definitely.
always good to be above average.
Yes.
I'm way below.
The mid-Atlantic states, so
Okay.
we're talking, I guess, Massachusetts, New Hampshire,
Yeah.
that sort of stuff.
Yep.
They're known as the pretzel belt of America, and they average 4 pounds.
The pretzel belt.
Great, right? And I think Pennsylvania falls in there as well. In Germany, they're known as bretzels, B-R-E-Z-E-L.
Okay.
And at Oktoberfest, you will see a Bratfrauen walking around, which is basically a bread woman or a bread lady.
Bratfrauen.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
So they will walk around with big, like, loaf, looks like a bread loaf, but it's made out of pretzel material, I guess you would say.
Sure.
And that's how you order them.
Wow.
And then in Germany also they have basically a cheese spread that's traditional with Oktoberfest. So you spread it on your pretzel and you cut it like a loaf of bread. You cut it like a slice. We see them lately. It kind of has been a fad as pretzel rolls. Fast food restaurants and like even at the grocery store you can buy them, and I like them.
Yeah.
I was gonna say I really liked the sandwich that Wendy's put out with the pretzel buns.
On the pretzel bun.
Yeah. So I'm assuming it's something like that, but in a loaf sort of thing. So you're cutting out a slice of a pretzel, which sounds pretty damn good to me.
Yeah. With cheese spread on it.
Yeah, and then you put the cheese or mustard.
Well, that's not.
That's not for me.
Sure.
But that might be for Dolan or somebody.
Oh, that's for me.
Yeah.
1861, this guy named Julius Sturgis creates the first commercial pretzel bakery in the United States. And he's in Lancaster County, Pennsylvania.
Okay.
And it's still around to this day. It's called like Sturgis Pretzel Company or something like that. So that's the first one where they're making them on a bigger scale, where they're employing a bunch of people to make pretzels. He's also the first one to make pretzels hard on purpose.
Oh.
So before that, they had been like the soft pretzel,
kind.
and they have a very low shelf life. Like you have to eat it now.
Right.
Right. So he baked them longer, and that let him package them and ship them farther away from his bakery because they stayed fresher longer.
Okay.
So he gets to move out from his little, miles around the bakery to now he's going out hundreds of miles with his product. And because of that, he starts selling like a ton of pretzels.
Yeah.
And him and his family have owned, so since then, 150 years, they're still in business making pretzels.
That guy's a hero right there.
Right? He introduced the every bar you go to, for the most part, it's got like the pretzel bowl, or whatever.
Yeah.
1930s, they were still making them by hand.
Wow.
That's how you get the dough, you cut it, you fold it, whatever.
You do the little whipping thing over and to make
you do
the
that,
thing.
and you do the tie. 1935, the Reading Pretzel Machinery Company opens up, and they make a machine that basically makes the pretzel in a mold, and they can make 245 pretzels in a minute. Whereas a human that's working in a factory could make 40. So just think about that, 40?
40 pretzels in a minute?
In a minute.
How do you?
You are booking.
You are
Oh
hauling.
my gosh.
And you're doing that for 10 hours a day.
Wow.
No, thank you. But the machine can make 6 times as much.
Yeah.
So it takes
Technology.
over.
So
right?
you're out of a job.
Yeah,
So you're out of the job, pretzel
Even though
roller.
40 pretzels a minute is an amazing
That is
talent.
badass.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
I mean, that's such a specific movement and skill.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's crazy to think. I did find the number 80% of pretzels are from Pennsylvania. So then I did just a little bit of research on the 4, like kind of the biggest pretzels, or where you'll find pretzels, what you think of as pretzels. Super Pretzel is a company that was started in 1970.
Okay.
And you might not know Super Pretzel's name, but you know what it looks like.
Okay.
Because when you go to a baseball game or a sporting event or a concert, it's hanging on a carousel, and it's in a little case, and they're spinning around. That's a Super Pretzel.
My son wants that every single time.
I would too.
I get it salted every time.
Oh, you have to. Maybe even a little extra salt.
Oh yeah, and the jalapeno like cream cheese filled ones.
They have cream cheese. What?
Yeah, jalapeno cream cheese filled pretzels.
You can get them at. Did you have them at your gas station? I've seen them there before.
No, we didn't. No.
Bummer.
God, there's just nothing better than just the big chunks of salt on there, with dipping it in the cheese.
Yep.
and-
So anytime you go to a concert or a sporting event,
Yeah.
that's basically who does that.
That's
and the
Super
guy,
Pretzel.
Yeah, the guy that bought the company was in a bankruptcy, and he bought it, and he was like, you know what I want to do? I want to switch this, and I want to make it for events, and that's like really the only thing that I can think of, other than Auntie Annie's.
Oh yeah, yeah. We had
So-
those in my gas station.
So that's it. That's like the soft pretzel of America, basically.
Every
right?
mall at one point smelled like that.
You're right.
At one of the entrances, right?
And that's on purpose. 1,500 locations.
Yeah.
And it started only in 1988, which is the height of mall culture,
Yes.
right? So like
Yep.
when malls were getting built all over the place, they were putting this in there. Everyone had a food court with a pretzel shop.
Yes.
And now malls have faded away. But you can still find them. I guess they have them in like some train stations, like on the East Coast.
Okay.
Like subway stuff, like in New York and Boston and those sorts of places.
There's a pretty big one in Minnesota.
The mall.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Mall
you're,
America.
you're right about that, Dolan. I bet you they have more than one of these in that mall.
Probably, yeah.
Probably.
But they started, and I think they have one at the mall that's over here by us.
Oakview still has, as much as Oakview has kind of died as a mall, they still have an Auntie Annie's.
I'm pretty sure. And they started making other things too besides pretzels, but that's their main thing.
And the pretzel with the hot dog in the middle. Good.
Right?
Man.
Pretzels.
So good.
And then I went through just some of the other ones that would be considered like the snack kind that you get in a bag. So rolled gold, that's one of the
Standard.
main ones, right? So that was started in 1917, and then it was bought out by Frito-Lay in 1961, and those are in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania.
Okay.
Auntie Annie's is based out of Pennsylvania, I forgot to say, and then Snyder's of Hanover. So
You
those
would,
are
you would not appreciate this, but their mustard pretzels
Yeah.
are arguably the
that's
best
who makes
pretzel
those?
ever.
Those are so good.
So good.
those are good. Mustard, I don't think so, but I like the jalapeno ones. Ooh. Those are good. But they're like the crunchiest pretzel. Like
Yes.
those are the straight up what they consider Bavarian style. like almost hurt your teeth to bite them pretzel.
I have to go to the dentist tomorrow type of style. Yes.
Or you can do like one of my all-time favorite commercials, and I don't know why this sticks with me, but it's a Snyder's commercial, and it's like a kind of like a lady, maybe in her 50s, and she's like a house mom kind of looking lady, and she has like a big book in her hand.
Okay.
And she's talking, and she's got one of the big pretzels of Snyder's that you can get.
Yeah.
And she takes the book and she just goes, smashes in all these pieces, and she's kind of talking dirty to the camera. I was like, "Ooh, what's this doing to me? This is weird. I don't know what's happening, but I kind of liked it."
Yeah.
And that was when they started making the Hanover bites.
The chunks, yes.
So she was basically saying, "This is how we do it." But she was kind of like sassy and no nonsense.
And a super like weird,
like almost like a librarian looking lady.
Oh, weird.
That's something to explore later, I suppose, after another beer. But so they make those, and they have like the like buffalo ones, I think. But then they have the jalapeno cheddar, and those are hot. I have some at my desk right now. I thought about bringing those in, but they're kind of spicy.
Well, I'm gonna stop by your desk later. How's that?
So that's in Hanover, which is in Pennsylvania. And they, in 2010, merged with a company called Lance Incorporated, which makes those Cape Cod chips, so like kind of the first kettle cooked chips that are around.
Those are good.
And then I guess I seem to find this is true. In 2017, Campbell Soup bought them out.
What?
For $4.49 billion.
Wow.
That's a lot of money. And in 2010, when they merged with that Lance place, and it still says on their bag now, they're shipped out of North Carolina. So a lot of it is still made in Pennsylvania, but then it's sent and packaged and processed and moved out of like Charlotte, I think, is where it's from.
Lance makes good peanuts. That's what I would know them as.
Yeah. And they're one of the bigger, I wouldn't say independent, but they're not Frito-Lay. So it's like the next tier of snacks.
Oh, yeah. Find. Okay. I know what you're talking about.
So that's what I got on pretzels. I wished I had some, but I didn't. I was trying to get a soft pretzel, but I didn't. I only thought about that at 9 o'clock, and we're doing this at 9:30.
You can get them so if you go to Dollar Tree, they sell those soft pretzels, 10 packs, 10 of them for $1.
The Dollar Tree?
What, in a box or something? Tree. Or are they frozen?
In a box. Yeah, they're frozen. Yeah. And they're actually pretty good. So what we did when I had the band in high school, how we made money was we would just run a concession stand because we didn't have merch. We were too poor for that.
Oh, my gosh.
And so we would like go to the Dollar Tree and we would find things like that. And then we'd sell them like $1 each at our shows. And it was great.
Dolan's an entrepreneur. We didn't even know
He's a high roller. So someone in the band, I assume, had to cook the pretzels?
No. I had my brothers do that. I had my siblings do that.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah, so they ran the concession stand.
Yeah.
Or like friends from school
labor.
who were like, I don't want to pay to get in your show. Like,
Right.
Well, warm up some pretzels.
Microwave some pretzels for us.
We had like chili. Like we did a Halloween show and we did chili in a crock pot. We sold that for like $1 a bowl. It was great.
Look at that. Wow. Maybe he should be a recruiter here instead of
you're on the wrong end of the table, man.
Right.
Interesting.
The one last piece of information, and I shared this with Brian this morning. If we go back to the Hofbräu, I didn't bring this up when we talked about them earlier. You've probably seen, because they have a ton of locations here in the States, the Hofbräu House.
And this was something you told me, and that blows my mind. I never heard of it.
I've
never been to one. Have you ever been to one?
I've never been to one. But there are at least, I'd have to go back and look at the website, 10 locations here in the States.
In Vegas. How could you not go to the one in
Vegas, Chicago, Cleveland. Now, when we've gone to Vegas every year for TravCon, some of our recruiters have gone there with nurses before, though.
Really?
Yes.
I feel like next year that's you got to go there.
I think we kind of have to. What's interesting though is they have locations all across the globe, everywhere. There's a location in China. They have locations in Africa. Like, it's crazy where these different and they all look exactly the same.
It's almost like a theme park,
kind of,
or a chain restaurant.
Yeah, like a Dave & Buster's kind of, for minus the video games, but more beer.
I'm all right with that.
Kind of place, yeah. But the one interesting, and I thought this was super interesting, maybe just for myself, but the place where we adopted this, where my son was born in Russia. We adopted him at 14 months old in Russia, so we spent time there in Siberia, in Kemerovo, Siberia. The only location of a Hofbräu house in Russia is in Kemerovo, Siberia.
Is that a big place?
It's well, kind of.
But
I
it's
guess.
not what I would think of when I think of Russia.
No. If somebody were to tell you like there is a Hofbrauhaus in Siberia,
You'd say
you're like,
Moscow,
yes,
St. Petersburg,
St. Petersburg, Kiev, maybe somebody like that. No, Kemerovo, Siberia. There's a Hofbrauhaus.
Wow.
They're not all the same owner, are they?
Hofbräu owns them all.
Hofbrau, so it's not like franchised out.
I don't think so. No, it doesn't look like that from their website. No,
Pretty
That would
cool.
be a lot
like
of business.
installation. Yeah.
Yeah. I was gonna say there'd be a lot of like different business laws you'd have to follow.
Oh yeah,
between the
you'd have to
countries.
be an expert.
Like
Without
you'd
a
have
doubt.
to be really good at that.
Yeah. But they have, 10-ish plus locations here in the States. They have locations all over Europe. They have Africa. Like I said, there's one in China. So it doesn't surprise me that there's one in Russia.
To get that authentic German, like what we were talking about before, like that German beer bubble. But that'd be really cool to go to one in like Africa or China. That'd be crazy.
To see like maybe step back into the difference.
And it's
there
like a
or
time
whatever.
machine because it's
Yeah.
It's when you look at the pictures online of Oktoberfest, if you didn't, I guess the people that work there are dressed up.
Yeah.
And some of the patrons are dressed up too, but some of them are not. You know, some of them are in common regular clothes. But
Sure.
it's almost like a time machine, or you're walking through a picture to 300 years ago.
Right.
It would be kind of cool.
And I didn't drink a ton of beer when I was in Russia. That was way before my beer time. But the beers I remember there are definitely not this style.
Not that.
Definitely not.
I had a Russian beer once. I didn't like it.
I think they're just called vodka.
Vodka.
Exactly. So, all right. Well, this is the part that makes me sad.
Yeah.
This was our 4th episode with Oktoberfest. I think what I've learned through all of this is not every Oktoberfest is equal.
Yeah.
They're not maybe all created the same.
Right.
Try them.
Try
one. Try a different one.
It's so open to beginning beer people or beer experts. Like there's just so much to enjoy. And we didn't really talk about the German purity law, but basically what it is you got your ingredients and that's all you can put. Like you're not adding any adjuncts, you're not putting any lactose, you're not adding any dry hops. It's just those ingredients to make a beer. And if it doesn't have that, then it doesn't meet the German purity law and you can't say that it's German. It can't be a regular Oktoberfest. So
that's water, malt, hops, barley. Is that
yeast
or yeast? Okay.
Yeah, those things.
Yep.
So it's almost like Joint Commission certification for us, right? Like if we don't meet our certain things, we can't say that we have this. Sure. And that's the same with this kind of beer. If they don't meet that, then they can't sell it as German Oktoberfest beer. And for a place like Hofbrau, that would be expensive.
That's a big deal. That's a big deal
for sure. So it's simpler, but when you have those sort of things, it's easier to find mistakes. Like if you make it wrong, you're going to tell because there's nothing to hide it, right?
Right.
So you have to be good at it, and that's why these breweries have been around for 600, 700 years.
Yeah,
because they know how to do it.
You're not using vanilla to hide your mistakes,
exactly.
or whatever. Right,
Yep.
exactly.
And that's kind of the cool thing about this style of beers. They're really hard to make.
Gosh, I just love this time of year.
Yeah.
I just love this time of year.
Yeah.
So, all right. Hopefully next year we'll do another 4 Oktoberfests for the month of October. And
we could definitely do that because there's a few more that we didn't get to that are traditional German ones. So.
Absolutely. Yeah, we did a fun mix of 4 there.
Yeah, we did.
Interesting mix. So, well, Brian, we're not going anywhere for a while.
Let's have another beer.
Thank you for listening to A Beer with Atlas. Special thanks to our brand team for producing the show. Each episode of A Beer with Atlas is powered by Atlas MedStaff, an industry leader in travel healthcare staffing.